What began as an unofficial investigation into a homicide became a Pandora's box of corruption, which has manifested into what some might consider to be prophetic fulfillments. In the summer of 2008, I experienced a series of 3 panic attacks. 1 week after the 3rd panic attack, my home in Palm Springs was broken into. There was no visible sign of forced entry. The perpetrators stole nothing, except the water pipe in the master bath had been pulled out of the wall, through the tile. It was obvious that whoever was there left angry. I would have been home, except I made a last-minute decision to stop and visit an acquaintance, which delayed me about an hour. The following day I discovered their point of entry and left immediately. That experience persuaded me to take a hiatus. When I returned home, strangers had locked me out. My friend Michael Goss was dead. I felt as if I was knee-deep, and surrounded by quicksand. I quickly realized my situation was far worse. The authorities refused to help me. My so-called friends abandoned me as if I were a leper. Everything I had was taken from me. There was an active effort to kill me, and the only reason I am still alive is because of divine intervention. Whatever that reason is, it must be extraordinary. Los Angeles Superior Court, Probate Division. Case Files, BP 115442 and BP 119874. The Michael R. Goss Living Trust. Cancer should never be reported as the immediate cause of death. According to this report, Michael Goss was last seen alive on February 13, 2009, and he was diagnosed with cancer on January 23. Yet according to Dr. Goodman, Michael Goss had the condition for years. According to this report, Michael Goss died at exactly noon on Valentine's Day, while supposedly at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Ultimately, dishonesty is indefensible. The estate trust was dated the day before Michael Goss was supposed to have died. According to the record, he died in the middle of the day, while at a very busy hospital, except the last time he was seen alive was the day before he died, which poses a question as to why no one saw him alive during the 12-hour time period prior to his time of death. I have discovered the attorney for the estate may be wanted by the FBI, because this individual sent me an anonymous message that read, "Love to play with you." I received another anonymous message that informed me Michael Goss was injected with a lethal dose of beta-blocking agent, which caused his heart to stop. After a second fraudulent probate case was filed, I paid the filing attorney a visit. I also filed a criminal report with the Attorney General's office, and then I took copies of the documents to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center's Legal Affairs Department. When I brought this matter to their attention, I was informed that Michael Goss was not one of their patients. My investigation was successful. Not only did I uncover the truth behind Michael Goss's murder, but I was also able to narrow down a list of possible suspects. I was certain the district attorney would stop ignoring me and start taking me serious, and in fact, the district attorney's office finally acknowledged me. However, it was to inform me that Michael Goss died from real estate fraud, and since his estate was valued at over $10 million, it did not meet the $300,000 prerequisite to justify for an investigation. Since Michael's death, I have been attacked with slander and defamation by the authorities, as well as the media. The reason is because if the only surviving relative commits suicide, then their information dies with them. These were Michael Goss's true signatures. These were the signatures found in the estate trust. The police called me delusional. The FBI told me this evidence did not exist. The Justice Department humiliated me. Based on that response, they are the delusional lunatics that need psychiatric help, not me. I found their reaction to be alarming because, clearly, these men are suffering from a mental illness. They are obviously delusional. They have lost touch with reality. Their thought process is disorganized, and because these men are responsible for public safety, an intervention must be organized to prevent their mental illness from causing any more damage to our society. Their mental health has affected me negatively, by influencing the way I have responded. However, in reflection, my responses have been completely emotional, and because I was reacting outside of my logical mind, some could argue, my responses were totally honest and unfiltered. In other words, I have responded raw and directly from my soul. When I realized the Justice Department was suffering from a mental illness, I began seeking other avenues for recourse. Technically, I am Jewish, so I went to the Jewish community for help, except my own people treated me as an outcast. I referenced the story of Moses, and used it as an analogy to remind my people that I was not the first Jew to demand justice from a head of state. I tried going to Masjid for help from the Islamic world without success. When I exhausted every domestic option available for recourse, I went to Geneva, Switzerland and petitioned for asylum from the High Commissioner for Human Rights. The United Nations treated me like a subspecies of human being. The only explanation as to why I have acted so crazy is because I was just following the example they were setting. During one of those moments, I sent a formal letter to the Freemason Fraternal Alliance, which informed them I was aware of their illegalities. During a brief moment of insanity, I claimed to be their God incarnate. Not only was I aware they would never have the mental health to comprehend the evidence I submitted, but I had nothing else to use in self-defense against them, so I figured I had nothing to lose by claiming to be God. I supported my claim with various biblical references. I also used the story of David and Goliath as the analogy of how they would not win this fight. All I want is justice. For my property to be returned to me, to be provided restitution for my damages, and to be given the recourse I am owed. I may have claimed many crazy things out of desperation. However, if I have acted unjustly, without reasonable cause, then God would have ignored me, like everyone else. If I was dishonest, or if my claims were a form of transgression, God would have punished me for calling upon God in vain. During my quest for justice, I discovered the answer to my prayers in a document entitled In Eminenti, the Papal Bull of Pope Clement XII. On August 8, 2012, I went to the Catholic Church with a copy of In Eminenti. I was confident the Church would enforce their constitution, which I believed would finally bring an end to this nightmare, since the Roman Catholic Church was the only organization with the authority to help me, except the Catholic Church closed the door in my face, and I am no longer allowed within 50 feet of the Roman Catholic Church. In complete emotional despair, I went to God and begged God to avenge me for these injustices. I declared a war against Freemasonry, as being God's enemy. 3 days later, on August 11, 2012, twin earthquakes hit northern Iran. They were within minutes from each other, as if they were birthing pains, which signified God's acknowledgement, as well as God's endorsement. God was the only one that listened to me. God has been the only force that has responded to my plight. On October 16, 2012, God gave me a message which I communicated to the Vatican through a press release for the world to witness. I gave the Pope a deadline, and on November 7, 2012, that deadline was met. On the morning of December 14, 2012, the consequence for ignoring God's warning was delivered to a private Catholic school located in the northeastern United States. The abomination of desolation was kept from the global audience, as 20 tiny caskets were paraded through the town of Newtown, Connecticut. All the while, being mocked by the United States media with a disgusting flood of arrogance. Then in February 2013, the United States government murdered one of its rape victims because that targeted individual fought back in self-defense. On February 8, 2013, I sent the Vatican another message, and 3 days later, the Pope resigned in cowardice. February 14, 2013, was the 5th year anniversary of my friend's death, and I was attacked once again by the predators responsible for making me homeless. That attack was communicated to me when music artist Lady Gaga announced the cancellation of her tour. The reality is, those responsible for murdering Michael Goss realized the visibility I was receiving through Lady Gaga's concert tour, and they decided to take a $20 million loss, rather than jeopardize the chance of having the truth exposed. So, on the seventh day of Passover, I gave the world trumpets.
I saw the posters popping up around the city, pale blue and washed out red. I went down to the arena, pushing through, hoping I'd run into you. Sweet, freshly scrubbed smell of the crowd, all the excitement in their eyes. We were all made young when he stepped onto the stage, like an animal escaping from his cage. Raise the trumpet, sound the drum. He whom the prophets spoke of long ago has come. All of us 2 days to leave when it was over, dawdled by the vendors for a minute. Gathered underneath a summer sky, I was hoping you'd pass by, but though I didn't see you that day or the next, I'm pretty sure that you were there, making your way among the young and happy horde, headed down to your reward. Raise the trumpet, sound the drum. He whom the prophets spoke of long ago has come.
And on April 14, 2013, I issued the seventh and last press release. The Vatican received all 7 covenants shortly thereafter. The Vatican will again ignore God's message, which will result in Armageddon. an individual is inducted into the Freemason Fraternal Alliance, there is a ritual that is performed. It takes a total of 3 episodes to complete, and during this long and extensive period, the individual sacrifices their soul to something which has no name. Each sect of Freemasonry performs the ritual their own unique way. However, the sacrifice is universal. Once completed, the individual is absent of the soul they were born with. Thus, each Freemason is dead, yet they appear to be alive, and the term for this is zombie, which is a very real and tangible evil. The reality is nothing like it is portrayed in horror films. In fact, it is much more horrific. When the body of a Freemason expires, the zombie spirit becomes trapped, and it must be released through another ritual. This ritual is often referred to as a Freemason burial, which is similar to a funeral. Only Freemasons are permitted to attend. It takes place near the gravesite, sometimes in the basement of the chapel or mortuary. The doors are locked, the room must not have windows, and when the ritual is completed, the spirit is released from the confinement of the mortal flesh, allowing it to return to whence it came. The worst punishment any Freemason could ever receive is to be denied a Freemason burial, because it means they will be trapped inside the body forever. For this reason, they must not be executed, and all must be cremated. None shall be given a Freemason burial, and none shall be offered salvation. To protect the innocent from these monsters, their tongues must be removed to prevent them from speaking their evil. The tongues of their spouses and children must also be removed. To prevent them from writing their evil, each of their palms must be branded, and to prevent them from spreading their deception, each of their foreheads must also be branded. In addition, every male over the age of puberty must be castrated. Their arrogance has given away their secrets, and since they have made the choice to be marked by the beast, then that shall be the mark used to brand them. That mark is the initials A, C, and E. For the time is upon us to carry out the consequence given by God. We must punish these transgressors with condign penalties, and since each of these individuals has made the choice of their own free will to wear the mark of the beast, then they shall be disfigured, and their appearance shall be forever altered with that mark. So be it. For thou shalt not hail, covet, or conceal, and this pollution shall forever be revealed as the excrement it is.
God,
in eminenti on Freemasonry. Papal of Pope Clement XII, April 28, 1738. Clement, Bishop, servant of the servants of God. To all the faithful, salutation and apostolic benediction. Since the divine clemency has placed us, whose merits are not equal to the task, in the high watchtower of the apostolate, with the duty of pastoral care confided to us, we have turned our attention, as far as it has been granted to us from on high, with unceasing care, to those things through which the integrity of orthodox religion is kept from errors and vices, by preventing their entry, and by which the dangers of disturbance, in the most troubled times, are repelled from the whole Catholic world. Now it has come to our ears, and common gossip has made clear, that certain societies, companies, assemblies, meetings, congregations or conventicles called in the popular tongue, Liberi, Moratori, or Franks Masons, or by other names, according to the various languages, are spreading far and wide, and daily, growing in strength. And men of any religion or sect, satisfied with the appearance of natural probity, are joined together, according to their laws, and the statutes laid down for them, by strict and unbreakable bonds which obliges them by an oath upon the Holy Bible, and by a host of grievous punishments, to an inviolable silence, about all that they do in secret together. But it is in the nature of crime, to betray itself, and to show itself, by its attendant clamor. Thus, these aforesaid societies, or conventicles, have caused in the minds of the faithful the greatest suspicion, and all prudent and upright men have passed the same judgment on them as being depraved and perverted. For if they were not doing evil, they would not have so great a hatred of the light. Indeed, this rumor has grown to such proportions that in several countries, these societies have been forbidden by the civil authorities, as being against the public security, and for some time past, have appeared to be prudently eliminated. Therefore, bearing in mind the great harm which is often caused by such societies or conventicles, not only to the peace of the temporal state, but also to the well-being of souls, and realizing that they do not hold by either civil or canonical sanctions, and since we are taught by the divine word, that it is the part of faithful servitude, and of the master of the Lord's household, to watch day and night, lest such men as these break into the household like thieves, and like foxes, seek to destroy the vineyard. In fact, to prevent the hearts of the simple being perverted, and the innocent secretly wounded by their arrows, and to block that broad road which could be opened to the uncorrected commission of sin, and for other just and reasonable motives known to us, we therefore, having taken counsel of some of our venerable brothers among the cardinals of the Holy Roman Church, and also of our own accord, and with certain knowledge and mature deliberations, with the plenitude of the apostolic power, do hereby determine and have decreed that these same societies, companies, assemblies, meetings, congregations, or conventicles of Liberi, Moratori, or Franks, Masons, or whatever other name they may go by, are to be condemned and prohibited, and by our present constitution, valid forever, we do condemn and prohibit them. Wherefore we command most strictly and in virtue of holy obedience, all the faithful of whatever state, grade, condition, order, dignity or preeminence, whether clerical or lay, secular or regular, even those who are entitled to specific and individual mention, that none, under any pretext or for any reason, shall dare or presume to enter, propagate or support these aforesaid societies of Liberi, Moratori, or Franks, Masons, or however else they are called, or to receive them in their houses, or dwellings, or to hide them, be enrolled among them, join to them, be present with them, give power, or permission, for them to meet elsewhere, to help them in any way, to give them in any way advice, encouragement or support, either openly, or in secret, directly or indirectly, on their own, or through others. Nor are they to urge others, or tell them, incite, or persuade them, to be enrolled in such societies, or to be counted among their number, or to be present, or to assist them in any way. But they must stay completely clear of such societies, companies, assemblies, meetings, congregations or conventicles, under pain of excommunication, for all the above-mentioned people, which is incurred by the very deed, without any declaration being required, and from which no one can obtain the benefit of absolution, other than at the hour of death, except through ourselves, or the Roman pontiff of the time. Moreover, we desire and command that both bishops, and prelates, and other local ordinaries, as well as inquisitors for heresy, shall investigate, and proceed against transgressors of whatever state, grade, condition, order, dignity or preeminence they may be, and they are to pursue, and punish them, with condign penalties, as being most suspect of heresy. To each, and all of these, we give and grant, the free faculty of calling upon the aid of the secular arm, should the need arise, for investigating, and proceeding against, those same transgressors, and, for pursuing, and punishing them, with condign penalties. Given at Rome, at St. Mary Mayor, in the year 1738 of our Lord. Be it known, I am still homeless, and with the help of God, there will be accountability. So help me God. Those in allegiance with what they think is Satan, who secretly wear the mark of the beast, will be branded with my initials, so that everyone they meet will know their vile secret. For this is only the beginning of the end. The reality is, it does not matter what I think of myself, or what I know is true or false, because God will always know the truth, and it is up to society to determine what that truth is, based on the tangible evidence before them. With that said, allow me to pose a debate, which I will leave you to question for yourself, but, considering the prophecy is real, and supposing Jesus Christ was real, and that Jesus Christ acted selflessly in sacrificing himself for the sins of the world, then, based on that belief, if Jesus Christ were to come back a second time, logic would determine his actions would not be selfless. Besides, obviously selfless did not prove to be effective. For every bad decision, there must be a consequence. Some could argue, there may even be a divine consequence for the worst decisions humanly possible. Science teaches us that for every positive force, there is a negative force of equal strength. This proves there is a dual polarity of existence. Light cannot exist without dark, nor can love exist without hate. For every good, there is an evil. However, evil is to the human race, like locusts are to a valley of orchards. If it is not stopped, it will destroy everything, and itself in the process. Evil will always exist, therefore, measures must be taken, not only for self-preservation, but also for global conservation. God is not a concept, and although God is not physical matter, God is still real and tangible. Except in order to touch and hold God, one needs to know where to find God. Fortunately, God is everywhere. No one can hide from God, and only those who are guilty of wrongdoing run from God in fear. What I will say is God will not give warnings forever. Should God determine to bring an end to our existence, the reason will be because you have given God no other option, and the time is now upon us to take action.